Hi everybody, welcome to Karen's Sizzle and Spice. Raise your hand if you like one dish meals. I know I do. It's great to be able to just throw all the ingredients into one bowl or one pot, cook it up, and there's dinner. Today I'm going to make an Italian sausage bake that I think you're going to love. So you're going to need between 1 and 2 pounds of Italian sausage. We're going to use 1 green pepper, 1 bell pepper. We'll use 1 big carrot. I'm going to use about 5 red potatoes. We're going to cut those up. I'm going to use 1 medium-sized onion. I love mushrooms, so I like to put in anything that I can. So I'm going to put half a dozen or so mushrooms in there. We're going to need chicken broth, a little bit of olive oil, and then we're going to spice it up with Italian seasoning. I don't buy the Italian seasoning that comes in all one bottle because I have all the spices that I can mix up. We're going to put in some ground thyme, some rosemary. Got to be careful with that, it's very potent. Basil, I love basil. Oregano, parsley, garlic powder, and of course salt and pepper. So let's get this started. I have a pot of water boiling because the Italian sausage needs to be parboiled for about 5 minutes for this recipe. And in the meantime, I'm gonna cut up my ingredients here. Now when I'm making a casserole like this, a one dish meal, I like to make everything the same size, about. It just looks prettier that way. And you know, beautiful food is good food. So I'm going to cut these carrots up. Now carrots take a while to cook too, so the smaller they are, the better they will cook for this casserole. I'm cutting them on the bias, on an angle here. They just look gorgeous, and you know, when the food is gorgeous, it just tastes better. Now when you cut up mushrooms, and like I said, I just love mushrooms, so I can't get enough of them. You don't want to put them under water to wash them because they'll just like soak up that water like a sponge. All you need to do is wipe them off on a paper towel until they're nice and clean, all the dirt marks are off. And then I will cut off a bit of the end of the stem, and then I will chop these mushrooms up as well in pretty big pieces. Mushrooms do not take long to cook at all, and those are ready for the pot. The pot of water is boiling for the Italian sausage, so I'm just going to drop them in here, the sausage links, and I will let them simmer here for about 5 minutes. To make it easier to spice up this recipe, I'm going to put all my herbs into a bowl here, and then they'll be ready to sprinkle right into the casserole. Some of the herbs are stronger than others, so you'll want to use a little bit less of some than the others. First, I'm going to add oregano leaves, and I'll put about a half a teaspoon. Oregano's pretty strong, so a heaping half a teaspoon is good. I'm going to use some garlic powder, and I'll use a very heaping teaspoon, half a teaspoon of that, because who doesn't love garlic? The parsley, another half a teaspoon. The thyme, I'll do a half a teaspoon, maybe a little bit less on that. This is all according to your own taste buds. Basil, I love. Can't wait for my garden to be growing it soon. I'm putting in a half a teaspoon of basil. I'm gonna put in a half a teaspoon of salt. I'm gonna give it some shakes of pepper. I like pepper. And remember, when you spice things up, you can always add more later, so you're better off having a little less than too much. And rosemary, boy, when I open that container, that is very strong. For me anyway, you might feel differently about it, but it comes in some rather large pieces. So I like to scrunch this up in my hand and then add it to the spice mixture. It kind of wakes it up. So this is all ready to go into the casserole dish. I'm gonna cut up my red pepper here, and this is how I cut a red pepper. I just go right around the core. And we're gonna chop these up just like I did everything else in some uniform size pieces. I've heated up about 3 tablespoons of olive oil in my cast iron pan, and I'm going to start to brown up the sausage. You could very well add all these ingredients to a casserole dish and it would come out tasting pretty good. But brown food is even better, and it creates such incredible flavor in the gravy that will form in this casserole bowl. So I am going to be browning all these vegetables and the meat to add it to the casserole. Just going to give this a little stir. The pan was pretty flaming hot. I just want to start to create a little bit of a brown crust on here. Okay, you can see how beautifully brown this sausage is now. It took maybe about 5 minutes or so, and now I'm going to transfer this over to my casserole dish. Oh yeah, that looks good. You can already see the little bit of gravy from the Italian sausage. I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil to the pan, and next I'm going to cook these potatoes. And these potatoes are going to take about 5 to 10 minutes so they're nice and brown. And I think I'll add a little salt and pepper. These potatoes are just starting to brown up a bit. It took about 10 minutes, and these are good to go. Good to go in the casserole, so I'm gonna pour it all into my casserole dish here. Ugh, it smells so good in here. Get those last few. They're stuck to the pan here. Here we go. Now I'm going to add a little bit more oil to my pan, and I'm going to start to brown up the rest of the veggies here. And these kind of cook all about the same amount of time, so I can add them all. The red bell pepper, the green bell pepper, my carrots, my onions. And you know what? Mushrooms cook so quickly, I don't really need to sear those at all. I'll end up just putting those right into the casserole once these veggies are cooked. These will take about 5 minutes. I'm going to add a little more olive oil to the top, and then we'll put these into the casserole dish, and then I'll be back to show you what's next. Look at how gorgeous these vegetables are. They've been cooking here for about 5 minutes. That's really all they're going to need. The food is just gorgeous, isn't it? It's so beautiful. I'm going to pour this now right into my casserole dish. And to finish it off, I'm just going to add my spice mix that I mixed up before. I showed you. Oh, this smells incredible. And then I'm going to add just about 1 to 1.5 cups of chicken broth. This, along with the vegetables and the sausage, is going to create a mouth-watering gravy. You have to believe me. You know what the nice thing is? I'm going to stir this up just a bit to make sure everything's mixed well. The beautiful thing about casseroles is this. I could put this in the oven right now, and I would cook it for about 30 minutes at 375. But what I'm gonna do today, because I have to go out, I am gonna cover this and I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator and I'm gonna pop it in the oven later. And I'll show you what it looks like then. All right, this casserole is ready to go. Now, because I put it in the refrigerator while I went out, I put this in the oven at 375 for about 1 hour, and it looks beautiful. Perfect doneness. Smells like an Italian restaurant in here. And look at the gravy it's created. This casserole is delicious. If you like what you've seen today in this recipe, please subscribe to my page, Karen Sizzle and Spice. And remember, you eat with your eyes first, so why not make it beautiful?